Okay.
Sorry, is that making noise?
Yes, that's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I don't know how to silence that. I'll
That's
have to work on that. Sorry for that distraction. That was my fault.
No problem. So welcome again this morning for the part 2 of doing business with DLA. If you joined me last week, we did part 1, and we do appreciate you coming back today. There's a lot of information here when doing business with DLA, so I thought it was important for us to break it down into those 2 different parts and talk about different parts and pieces of doing business with DLA. So again, if you have a question or anything, I know we talked about this last week, just go ahead and put your question in either the chat or the Q&A. Molly's going to kind of keep an eye on that. And as we go through today's session, I will stop it for a break and see if we have any questions. So feel free to put that in there. So just to recap from part 1, what we talked about last week, we talked a little bit about who the Defense Logistics Agency is. I provided you with a nice video that kind of was like an overview of all the parts of the Defense Logistics Agency and all the primary fields. We listed those: land and maritime, aviation, troop support, energy. What they buy, we talked about that, and how do they buy. And we looked at the DLA DIBBS website on how to register. We also briefly discussed on how to select your company's federal supply class codes. And we're going to actually do a little recap on that section again this week. And as always, throughout these slides, you will see a link to the DLA's DIBBS website. And again, today is just an overview of how to do business with DLA. Your PTAC, your local PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center, is here to assist you with all of this. So, don't fret. Don't think that if you don't understand what I'm talking about today, we can actually set up a meeting with you and have you become a client and sit down and show you these one-on-one, face-to-face. We are currently setting up virtual meetings via Zoom, and we can talk face-to-face, and I can help actually navigate you through the system just, one-on-one. And I guess just to talk, maybe review of what a PTAC is. PTACs, we are a Department of Defense program. We're currently being administered by the Defense Logistics Agency to assist companies in doing business with the government, and that's whether it's federal, state, or local. And but DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, is a federal agency. Again, that's currently who we are administered by, and so we really want to make sure companies in our area are taking advantage of some of these opportunities. We also talked about that national stock number, that the FSC code is the first 4 digits of that national stock number. So here's my checklist. Last week we talked about these are the things that you need to do, the steps you need to do business with DLA. We talked about getting registered with the System Forward Management if you are currently not already. Everybody doing business with the federal government needs to be registered in SAM. SAM is also a free website. You do not need to pay anyone to help you with that. PTACs, we're here. We are charged at helping companies get on there, and you do not have to pay for that. There's a lot of for-profit scammers, we call them, out there taking advantage of people and telling you that you need to pay to get on SAM. That is not true. It is a free website. We talked about, again, registering with the DLA DIBBS website. That's the second step. Third step is selecting those FSC codes, which we can help you with as well. Remember that FSC is the first 4 digits of that NSN number. We talked about getting access to the C folders, the collaboration folders. That is where the government, DLA, keeps all their technical and specifications. You have a separate registration into that system. We also talked about the Joint Certification Program, JCP. Some of those technical documents have restrictions, and you may have to be a part of the Joint Certification Program to get access to those technical documents. So let's talk a little bit, let's just do a little recap on the FSC code. And I kind of put this little definition together. I give this to my clients when they're trying to select their FSC codes for the first time. Your company, manufacturing companies especially, that you have capabilities to produce specific pieces and parts for with your laser cutting machines, lathes, milling, or whatever type of CNC machine that you have. You can make these pieces that go into or onto end products. So when selecting your FSC code, think of the end product first. And here's an example. So the FSC code of 1005 is titled guns through 30 millimeter. Your company most likely does not make guns. That national stock number for a gun muzzle lock is that 13-digit code, which the first 4 digits are that FSC code. So this is you most likely could have the capabilities to make a gun muzzle lock, but you don't have the capabilities to make the whole gun. So when you're searching for FSC codes, you're going to be seeing these end items listed. Think about what can go on or in one of these end items. Here's another example. Here's the national stock number. It's a 13-digit code. This is the national stock number for a slide assembly plate. Your company most likely has the capabilities to make a slide assembly plate, but that when you're looking at that federal supply class code, it's titled aircraft launching equipment. Your company may not make aircraft launching equipment, but you most likely could make a slide assembly plate that goes on an aircraft launching equipment. So this is how you want to start. When we start looking at how to pick out this FSC codes, think of the whole product, the end product. And here we talked last week, I gave you 3 different resources on where to go to look for FSC codes or help you narrow that down. Let's just take a look at one of those. I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to try to reshare. And I always have a problem with this. Let's go to the, I'm just going to show you one of these. Aha, there we go. So this is one of the links that I provided you with. This is the H2 handbook. This is what I think this is one of the best resources that I've been able to find out there. So you'll go down, you'll scroll down to the table contents, and you're going to start seeing these grouped. These first 2 digits are the first 2 digits of that FSC code. So let's look at the one that we were looking at in the example, the 1720 for the slide assembly plate. So if we just click on 17, it takes us to a larger number of it, a 4-digit number. So you'll go through these FSC codes and start looking at what it is that you can make. There's slings, there's trailers, there's aircraft servicing. And that was the 1720 for the slide assembly plate. Here is how that breaks down. It says aircraft launching equipment and excludes. So this really, I guess, doesn't really give you a big definition. Some of them do. Let's see, let's go down. Trying to find different ones that might help you. This one, I wasn't a very good example. Sorry about that. Let's go down to 25. So 25 is for vehicular equipment components. And this, so then you'll see the FSC code 2510. There are springs, suspension type shock absorbers, brakes, clutch brakes, assembly kits. So you're going to see these being broke down into more specific components of these end items. So that's just give you a little example. We can help you with this, actually, help you look at some of this stuff to help you narrow it down. Okay. I'm going to try to go back and reshare. All right, so we should be back on to the PowerPoint.
Yes, it looks good.
Looks good, okay. Now if I can get my two screens to cooperate. So off our checklist again, let's talk about searching for a DLA opportunities. This is basically the fifth step on doing business with DLA. Kind of tried to break it down for you. So you would go to the DLA website, and again, here is the link to that website. And on that homepage, you're going to find basically everything you need to get started with doing business with DLA. If we look at the RFQ here, right? It's like the second box down under solicitations. You'll click request for quotes. And remember, we talked last week that requests for quotes are estimated value at or below 250,000, and they're usually reserved for small business. In that same box, you're going to see the RFPs, request for proposals or invitation for bids. They're usually estimated above 250,000. These are usually sealed or negotiated bids, and there's usually evaluation factors involved. It's not just based on price. Where your requests for quotes are based on price, usually there are no evaluation factors involved. So then when you go to search for RFQs, you're going to just click on that RFQ. It'll bring you to this page. You can search by national stock number, federal supply class. This is what we usually recommend our clients to start off, is looking at those FSC codes. But you can, if you found a solicitation number, you can actually go in and select the solicitation number. So these are all the different ways of searching. You can click on that RFQ box tab that's at the top of the homepage, or you can select underneath that what I just showed you here. Let me see. Go back. You can select that, and it'll take you there as well. You'll want to. You can search by solicitations that just opened up today, or anything that's open, or something that's been recent within the last 15 days. Or if you want to look at all different things that came out, you can select all, and maybe you're looking at past procurement history on certain parts and things. But if you're looking for a current solicitation that's open, something that you can bid on, you're going to want to select the search filter open. You'll also want to make sure you are selecting something with that contains technical documents. Remember last week I had mentioned that some of these opportunities are they're open, but the government does not own the technical documents, and it's only open for people or companies that are already approved sources. So if you're not an approved source on anything, you want to make sure you're looking at ones that have assigned technical documents. It's something you can find in those C folders. There are two separate search functions. You're going to see the one on the left, a custom query, and then you can also look at RFQ solicitation text search. I highly recommend that you use the one on the left. That is the one that I recommend to clients the most. You also have, when you're searching and you want to, get some tips on how to make your search better, or your efforts are more successful. There are some tips down here on both of these sides of these queries. So I would highly recommend that you open those up to give you some more tips on how to find opportunities. So if you want to look at RFP, those ones that are valued over 250,000, you'll want to go to the RFP section. And you can search by solicitation, NSN part number, nomenclature, or the buyer's code. The buyer code is actually the government's DODAC code. It's like a digit that's assigned to the government. And I have some examples for you here in the next couple slides. Or you could actually just go to anything that's open and has a close date. You can click on this, and it'll take you to anything that's open currently. And then you can search through that to see if there's anything that fits your company. So this is what you'll get when you're under the RFQs. You're going to get a list of, so this was a search that was done under the federal supply class code 4820. which is for a valve. And then you'll notice that the technical documents are, there were 91 open solicitations for this. You can actually click the NSN that's listed in this to get more information. You can click on the tech docs, and remember, you'll have to have an account. You need to be registered in C folders to get access to those tech docs. And then you want to make sure you're looking at the quote to see if it's open or when it needs to be returned by. Sometimes you'll see some of these open solicitations where the return date is past due. Say this one, say, today is August and the return date was in April. If it still has a little open, it says it's open, then that means that nobody bid on that solicitation. That means you still have an opportunity to bid on that. You'll also notice over here, the solicitation was reserved for small business. And, I know I mentioned before that requests for quotes are usually set aside for small business, but the keyword is usually. This second one down is unrestricted. That means it doesn't matter what size of company you are, anybody can bid on that. You also notice down here, there are hub zone set-asides. There's sometimes you'll see a service disabled veteran set aside. If you see things like that, a hub zone or service disabled veteran, sometimes there is a notice in the solicitation that hub zone or service disabled veteran set asides, it's going to go to them first. But again, this might be an opportunity that nobody bid on. A service disabled veteran or hub zone did not bid on that opportunity, so they will take the next of lowest bid. So I always tell my clients, if it's something you want to bid on and it is a set aside, bid on it anyway. You never know if it's a hub zone firm is going to bid on that or not. So sometimes that you'll see that notice listed in the solicitation. But if you have questions on any of that, again, your PTAC counselor can assist you at looking at some of these and whether you qualify for it or not. You can also search for opportunities on sam.gov, and this is the official new website. If you were ever familiar with FedBizOps, it is no longer working. Everything's been commissioned into this new system, sam.gov, and this is the new look as of May of this year. So you'll want to first sign in, and if you've never logged into SAM before, you will have to create a login.gov account, and all you have to do is click that sign in, and it'll tell you what you need to do. You can go in and create a new account. Your company, if you're doing business with the government, federal government, your company needs to have somebody who's the administrator on that account. But that doesn't mean, if you're not the administrator on the account, does not mean you cannot have your own login.gov account to go and search for opportunities. But your company does need to have one person who is the administrator on the account. But you, as anybody, can go in and do a login.gov account. I have one. Each of my staff, they have their own account, so they can go in and search for opportunities for their clients. But they're not necessarily the admin on that SAM account. So then you'll click on, once you're logged into the account, you'll click the search tab, and then you will click contract opportunities. It'll bring you to a page. Then you'll go down and filter out even more. You can type in the word defense, and then you'll see some sub tiers come up, and then you'll see Defense Logistics Agency and all the other agencies under the defense. So select Defense Logistics Agency, and then you'll scroll down and you can put that FSC code in this section. And it's labeled product and service code, but it's the same as the FSC code. The government, for some reason, only labels that product and service code, but FSC is the same thing. You'll go in and put that in there, and it'll help you narrow down some of your search. Some other ways of looking for opportunities, DLA has a website link here where you can look at unawarded solicitation opportunities. This will be a list of things that did not go, that nobody bid on. You can look at some prime strategic contracting opportunities. This link here will take you to all these links. You can look at some strategic subcontracting opportunities. There's a list for no bid solicitation, replenish parts, purchase or borrow, the RPPOB program. This is a list of parts that no one seems to be bidding on anymore. They might be old parts or pieces that, you know, companies are not making anymore. So you can actually borrow the part from DLA. You can talk to their one of their small business specialists or somebody that is listed on the RPPOB program, and get a hold of that part, borrow it. You can even buy the part from them. And if your company has the capabilities to reverse engineer a part, then you can actually put in a SARS package, become an approved source to be the company who makes that part that the government still needs. They still need these because they got systems that maybe that are older, and they have these parts that wear out. So it's a lot. There's a lot of details to it, but I just wanted to put it out there to let you know there are opportunities where you can become an approved source under this program. There's also a link on this this page that'll take you to some of the forecasts that DLA is looking at in the next so many years. You can also, under the strategic subcontracting opportunities, you will find a list. You just click on that, the previous page I gave you the link to. You'll click on this strategic subcontracting opportunities, and it will bring you to a list of OEMs, original equipment manufacturers like GE Aviation, Sikorsky, Bell Helicopter, and it actually gives you the POC for that that company. And if you feel that you could make parts become a subcontractor, here is the main person. DLA gives that list to you. It's kind of very valuable. I kind of ran into this last year when I was putting this PowerPoint together. Did not know that this list was here. So you can reach out to this company and see if there's any way for you to become an approved supplier or a subcontractor. Here's also another link to some of these larger primes: Bay, CACI, General Dynamics, Kilner Builders, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. So right here, if you click on that, these are hyperlinks. It'll take you to their homepage or their suppliers page where you can sign up to become a vendor. I highly recommend that you do that, especially if you have any of the social economic that maybe you're a woman-owned or a veteran-owned, service disabled veteran-owned. They look for subcontractors with those economic set-aside certification programs. So this is very valuable information here as well. So when just to give you a little background of the subcontracting program, if a large prime gets a contract that is over or expected to or exceeds $750,000 or 1.5 million for construction, these large primes need to put a subcontracting plan together, and they need to meet this criteria. Must establish a subcontracting plan with specific dollars and percent goals for subcontracting to small, hub zone, small disadvantaged, small woman-owned, veteran-owned, small service disabled veteran-owned small businesses. This plan must be in place prior to contract award. So this requirement is to submit that plan along with their request for proposals. So here's an opportunity for you not to be the prime, but to tap into some of the subcontracting opportunities. And it's all about forming relationships with these primes because they're already established with the government. But you as somebody going new into being a doing business with DLA, subcontracting might be a great place for you to start. So one of the things that we ask, we suggest to our clients is this is something the government and these primes are expecting. You'll want to put a capability statement together because they're going to want one when you start reaching out to them. I do a whole training on capability statements, so I'm just going to briefly tell you what it is. Capability statement is a snapshot of your company that serves as a resume of your business. When you are talking to some of these primes, you've reached out and you've now you have their contact information. They're going to expect you to send them a capability statement. And there's a certain way you need to put that statement together. It's a concise overview of qualifications and experience. It's used to compare you with other vendors. I do apologize for that. Forgot to turn off my do not disturb on my phone. You clearly want to show why you are fit for the customer, demonstrate your distinctive competencies, and provides essential information to customers and partners. So this is a very important document. If you do not have a capability statement, we highly recommend that you get something put together. Your PTAC counselor will help you. Once you put a draft together, we will let you know. You can send it to us. We can review it and let you know where you need to fix some things, or what looks good, what doesn't look good. DLA Aviation also has a place where you can send your capability survey. It's their own capability statement. It's something that they require. Here's a link to that where you can go on and set up and send in your capabilities survey to DLA. Finding some other DLA opportunities, narrowing it down a little bit more, DLA land depot level repairables. Here are some of those activities. DLA Aberdeen, and here I talked about earlier the DODAC code. It's the government's, it's their code. Here you can actually copy and paste this. You will get a copy of this presentation. You can copy and paste these DODAC codes when you're doing some of your searching. So we're looking at DLA TACCOM. TACCOM is for tanks, automotives, and armaments command. There might be something here that, and actually you can look at the locations here, go in and do some more research on some of these. When I narrowed down like the base, you can, so just to give a definition for Aberdeen, their batteries to state-of-the-art electronic sensors, night vision equipment, highly sophisticated satellite communications, command and control systems, and many types of software. Maybe your company it specializes in some of this stuff. So you can actually use that DODAC code to narrow down your search. If this is, this is one of the DLA activities that you could. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I just got a call and a message, and I'm looking at it as it comes across. I do apologize for that. So you can narrow down your search by looking at doing your research, doing your due diligence, looking at some of these activities. You can, if you know who you want to do business with, you can actually take that code and narrow down your search. So I've given you a list, a couple of pages here of lists of different depots. There's the Mechanicsburg. That's actually here in Pennsylvania. DLA Warren, I believe, is in Michigan. And then you'll see that these are the shipyards here. And I provided you links for everything. Also, the Navy has their own bidding site. So DLA has the DIBBS website, but Navy has NICO, and I provided you with that. It's just sort of the same thing. You can search for all the Navy opportunities using this link right here. So looking at our checklist, so I've showed you everything on this checklist, how to search for opportunities. And again, your PTAC counselor can help you through each and every one of these. So now let's look at RFQ solicitation and some supporting documentation. You'll want to download a solicitation. You just click on that hyperlink for the solicitation number and the technical documents. And so then when you open that up, you're going to get something like this. This is a standard form. It's going to give you some details of who this was issued to or issued by. This one is a DLA Land and Maritime. It's going to give you the details on when it's due. It's going to tell you that this is a set aside for a small business. And then it's going to let you know when you need to send that quote in. It tells you the issue date. But you're also going to get some important information down in Schedule 11. And this is where it becomes a little bit tricky because you're not only going to have the solicitation, you're going to have other supporting documents to help you. There is the master solicitation that you're going to need to download. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to go to that home page for DLA. And you're going to see the master solicitation right there. And you're going to want to make sure you understand that this master solicitation, so I call it part 1 and part 2. You're going to get the solicitation with the opportunity. I call that the part 2. Part 1 is the master solicitation. And this is usually updated every so many months. So you want to make sure you go in and get the latest master solicitation. This link on that home page will take you to the most recent one that DLA has out. You're also going to, on that same place, you're going to want to download the DLAD procurement notes. This is, again, located right here on the home page. There are going to be specific codes and things. When you're reading the Part 2 solicitation, you're going to see reference to a procurement note. And this is specific details that pertain to that solicitation that you're going to need to understand. So you'll want to make sure you download that and the most recent, because they do update this every so many months as well. And this is just an example of a procurement note that you'll find in the Part 2 solicitation. This is procurement note L16. And remember when we were talking about the set-asides, the opportunity may be set aside for a service-disabled veteran, but they're also giving you instructions how if no service-disabled veteran-owned small business bids on this, then you as a small business can also bid on this. You would be second in line if there are no service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses that actually bid on this. You as a small business would be the next in line. So that's just a procurement note, and there are several throughout that solicitation. And they may not call that out. Sometimes they do call it out right in the solicitation. They'll actually put that procurement note, all the details from the procurement note in there, but sometimes they don't. They just reference it. So, and the third thing that you want to make sure you're downloading, that there's the master solicitation, there's the DLADs, and now the third part is the DLA technical and quality master list of requirements, also found on the home page right there. And you, again, will want to make sure you're downloading the most recent. And that here is, and this is the quality master list of requirements. For an example, this isn't found again in the second solicitation, Part 2, I call it. And this document incorporates technical and quality requirements set forth, and it's going to give you a description of what that is. So you can use that technical quality master list and go in and find the definitions for each of these. Also under solicitation in that Part 2, you're going to find price and competitors information, which I think is great. DLA is one of the few of the federal agencies that will actually list their past procurement prices. So this will help you when you're putting your proposal together to see what did it go for last time. It tells you the last time it went out. It usually shows you at the top is the latest. So this NSN right here, this is the NSN number. This was last quoted or last purchased back in 2002, of March 18th of 2002. And the last time it went out, there was 179 pieces or parts or whatever, and the unit was $6.51. And this over here will tell you the cage code of the competitor who actually bid on, who won that award. Here's a solicitation contract number for that. So this is kind of handy, really does help you figure out, where you need to be. Of course, this was 2002, we're in 2021. That was a long time. So, materials, costs have gone up a lot. So you might be starting all over again. You might have a whole new ball game here because again, 2002 was a long time ago, but a lot of solicitations coming out are they're parts and pieces that they've been buying through the years. So you're going to see more recent dates on there. Another thing that you're going to want to become familiar with is especially if you're not familiar with doing business with the Department of Defense or federal government, you're going to want to download this link. This is the link to the federal acquisition regulations. This is all the regulations that you will find in these solicitations, and you will also want to look at the DFARS. DFARS is the supplemental clauses for the Department of Defense, and you will find a lot of those listed in that solicitation. So highly recommend that you download this and save this in your browser. Other things to consider when we talked about this briefly last week. A lot of mostly now all Department of Defense contracts will have some form of cybersecurity that you will have to have in place. There are 110 controls. The DFARS 252.204-7012. It was the original clause that has been amended since November of last year. You are now going to be seeing a 7019 and 7020 clauses listed in there. You will have to have a system security plan in place. And this is for anything that that is considered a non-commercial or a COTS, commercially off-the-shelf product. So, but DLA basically has, if you're doing business with them now, you need to have a lot of these measures in place. So we can help you with this. This is a whole new subject. Soon we are going to see that you will need to have your cybersecurity compliance will have to have a certification. By 2025, you will have need to have your systems certified. This is all coming down. If you've not heard about this, please reach out to us. We can train you and let you know what's going on, what the latest is. Again, here's a link to the JCP program. If you need to become joint certified, and most all DoD or DLA opportunities, you have to have that JCP in place. Also, some have documents that are ITAR protected or export controlled. You may need to be registered with a DDTC. Here's a link to that. It's a whole nother training. There's so much information on this, but we can help you dissect all this information. But I did want to mention it. Here is also a link to so once you're awarded a contract, especially when the RFPs or RFQs, you may have won based on your price. We talked about that last week. But once you win that award, DLA will do their due diligence, and there is a pre-award survey that they will give you. Here's some information on how to put a pre-award survey together. That link will take you right to a presentation guide to help you with that. And then there's some information on packaging. DLA has special specifications, technical documents on putting your package together. Some DLA is using a lot of commercial packaging, but they also have details on how to do that. I highly recommend that if you're going to start doing business with DLA, that you start looking at some of these requirements. Also, check out DoD news on Facebook and LinkedIn. They have their own Facebook and LinkedIn pages, so you can go in and find the latest news on things that are going on. You can just go through the Facebook, and DoD actually has a lot of trainings and things or presentations that they will upload to their Facebook. The Navy, Department of Navy of Office of Small Business Programs. Currently, the Navy is increasing our fleet of ships. They're going from 280 some ships to 355 ships within the next 3 decades. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for small businesses here. So you want to keep up with the latest with the Navy. Also, here's a link to the defense.gov. They talk about the latest, that they'll list a lot of the contracts that are coming out, the latest or the latest news on contracts. So highly recommend, if you're doing Department of Defense work, you want to download this link as well. And again, this is our service region. We are here to serve you. My contracting specialists, Melissa Becker and Kelly Weaver, we serve these 8 counties. So reach out to us. Don't let today, don't leave today scratching your head. Just always know that we are here. We are free. We are paid for by your tax-paying dollars. use us to help you get through this. Today, you know, there's a lot of information in the last 2 trainings that I gave you, but call us, send us in a request, call us or email us and let us know you want to become a client. There's a form that you'll have to fill out to become our client. And then once we receive that form, we can set up a meeting with you to go through all this and kind of, you know, sit down and navigate you through the system one-on-one. And I'd like to thank you. If you have any questions, Molly, do we have any questions?
We do not. So I will open this opportunity for anyone to enter in the chat box or the Q&A box to go ahead and ask a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, we would love to, you know, talk with you, Brandy. If you want to become a client, we'd love to help you out. Just let us know. There's my contact information. Again, I'll be getting the slides to you here shortly. We'll send them in a PDF form so you can, those links will be hot links. You can just click on them and it'll take you right to those websites.
Okay, well, I don't see any questions coming through, so I just want to thank you, Robin, for all of this information in both of these sessions. I think there's a lot to digest, but certainly a lot of great information in there. And thanks to everyone for attending. The recording will go out in the next few days, and we'll share the slides that Robin has mentioned that she'll share. So we'll get all of that out to everyone here shortly. So thank you, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Molly, so much for hosting us, and it was a pleasure working with you. And hopefully in the future we'll have some more partnering. We'll do some partnering on some other projects. So we got a question here now. Oh, thank you, Brandy. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks.